Hey, my name is Sean, and in this short presentation, I'll show you why almost every pro therapist, website article, and published book is just dead wrong about the cure for social anxiety. I'll also show you scientific new strategies and methods to stop wasting the best years of your life being insecure, lonely, and bored. However, I don't know how long I'll keep this presentation online, because in it I'm going to share with you my story, which is a bit embarrassing and humiliating. You'll see why in just a moment. So watch it now while you still can, because tomorrow it may be gone forever. Deal? Okay, great. So, alone on a Saturday night, aimlessly surfing the internet, for years, that's what I called my social life. And if that sounds bleak and depressing to you, that's because it was. I had no social life and I was tired of staying home alone all the time, keeping busy with pointless hobbies. Why didn't anyone ever invite me out? I had very few friends, and none that I saw outside of school or work. How did people actually make friends? I was always anxious, nervous, and tense in social situations, even just walking past someone I knew and saying hello. I had no idea how to keep a conversation going with someone I didn't know well. My mind would always go blank, or I would run out of things to say. I was always the quiet, shy one in any group, the one who never said a word and just stood there. I was very self-conscious and insecure about how I looked. Corny as it sounds, I never really felt good about myself. In short, I felt like a complete loser. It wasn't that I wanted to be lonely, but with people I didn't feel comfortable talking around, I would instantly become quiet and go into my shell. I swear I've stood in a circle of people I wanted to get to know better and not said a word until people would barely notice that I was even there, like I was invisible or something. I didn't know how to act or talk naturally around people I didn't know. Doesn't it drive you nuts? It wasn't that I was really afraid of talking, it's just that I didn't know what to say. I wouldn't say a word and I would just listen. But if someone said something funny, inside my head I would say, why didn't I come up with that? My mind seemed to go blank, and the harder I tried to think up of something to say, the longer I didn't actually say anything. And it wasn't for a lack of trying either, but all the advice I ever got from people who were supposed to be friends was things like, you'll break out of your shell someday, or don't be shy, just pretend to be confident. Yeah, right. Easy for them to say. Sometimes I start to feel as if I was just different. I didn't know how to socialize like other people. I had a big problem becoming close friends with anyone. To make matters worse, I had basically no social life. Usually I stayed at home by myself, keeping busy with solitary activities and pointless hobbies. Sometimes I thought I was passionate, but in the end, I was really just lonely and bored. I spent a lot of time wondering what other normal people my age did in their spare time. And I always dreaded someone would ask me what my plans were for the weekend or what I had done last night, because usually I'd sit at home by myself and did nothing at all that was even worth mentioning. So I usually ended up becoming awkward, not saying anything at all. Sometimes I tried to change the subject or find a distraction. It was so frustrating. But it seemed like all those loud people who never had anything really intelligent to say, they always had crazy true stories to tell and plenty of friends to hang out with and parties to go to. It was like a cycle that I just couldn't break into no matter how hard I wanted to. So while I was thinking about how great my future would be, they were actually living it up in the real world, not just daydream land. One night, a few years ago, I got sick and tired of being shy and lonely and bored out of my mind. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I couldn't stand the idea that I was gonna spend the rest of my life being this socially anxious and die alone, having never actually lived. Fortunately, I'm the kind of guy who's interested in psychology. The one thing I had going for me was my brain. I was always interested in human psychology and behavior research. You know, the advanced research techniques that make US advertising companies so filthy rich. So my question was, if modern scientific research can reveal what America wants to buy, why can't these same techniques reveal how to cure social anxiety? I doubted I'd find anything really important, but I was desperate, so I threw myself into the research anyway. I went on a personal mission and spent 7 long months sacrificing whatever social life I had left, doing nothing but reading dozens of psychology books, listening to dusty old audio courses, and studying seminars. By the end, I'd spent dozens of weeks locked up in my room trying to find the solution to end my social anxiety problem forever. I think you could safely say that I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours trying to find the answer. But you know what? It was worth every second. What I discovered nearly blew my mind and turned my social life around completely. I went from being a lonely, invisible guy to making people turn their head as I walk into a room with several friends. I can finally relax and enjoy conversations. I can talk confidently in front of groups of people, and I can even approach attractive strangers who I want to meet. After striking up a long string of great friendships with fun, interesting people, I now have a group of friends, a social life, and a girlfriend, which is something I thought would never happen. When I saw what I had discovered, a proven way to overcome social anxiety, I just knew that I had to get the word out somehow. And after I suddenly changed and became much more extroverted and popular and confident, some of my old shy friends saw how much differently people treated me, and they kept telling me, "You have to write a book." Well, I did more than just write a book. I decided to create a complete system for overcoming social anxiety. One that gives people exact step-by-step instructions for what to do and when, instead of boring stories and vague generalities and theories. I've taken the time to record everything I learned and discovered and packed it into an MP3 audio program. And a good friend of mine showed me how to publish this program online and make it available to you for instant download. The program is called the Shyness and Social Anxiety System. I've learned that most socially anxious people do exactly the wrong things in most social situations. In my system, I'll teach you the right things to do. If you don't know anything about making friends and would like to get this part of your life handled, this program will help you. If you can't talk to people of the opposite sex, or you struggle to say the right thing or run out of things to say in conversation, I'll show you simple ways to solve these problems. If you feel like you already have a basically okay personality, but you can't express it in front of most people and feel like you're hiding behind a mask, the truth is, you can cure social anxiety permanently by changing how your brain works through proven psychology. Most importantly, if you find yourself staying at home by yourself all the time and fear you're going to be this socially phobic for the rest of your life, I'll show you how to improve faster than you ever thought possible. By the way, this isn't some repackaged book from the 1970s that's filled with ridiculous ideas and cheesy, out-of-date motivational phrases like be yourself. This system is full of fresh, original ideas, all backed by years of my own personal psychological research and my own real-world experience learning from scratch. I'm not kidding around with you. I learned all this stuff the hard way. You won't find this kind of information in any other book or program. I guarantee it. I've decided to publish this program only through the internet, which means that you can download it and start learning these secrets immediately, right from the comfort and privacy of your computer. Alright, so let's talk about how my system actually works. There's simply no escaping the conclusion. Simply doing what you've always done isn't good enough. You must forget everything you think you know about overcoming social anxiety, making friends, and talking to people. You have to think a different way. You have to act a different way. You have to believe a different way. You must change, or else you risk making it even worse. I will overhaul your entire way of thinking, behaving, and interacting with other people. Up until now, most people who talked about social anxiety advice have been trying to get rid of your problems without changing your core personality. They've continued to allow you to keep the bad habits that get socially anxious people nowhere. Let's be clear here. Being yourself is not the solution. It's the problem. You need to change, and that's what I teach you to do. How do I do this? By using the most cutting-edge, little-known psychological tricks uncovered in areas such as social psychology, behavior conditioning, the latest forms of cognitive therapy, and evolutionary psychology. I've studied all these areas and more in detail, stolen all their latest tactics, and put them together into a system that makes overcoming social anxiety simple and straightforward. You just have to follow the instructions I give you and apply the techniques in your own life. First, let me tell you what you won't find in the system. All you have to do is walk down to the self-help section in your nearest bookstore to know that most of the information out there sucks. So here's what you won't see anywhere in my system. I won't give you my theories about what works. Most of the advice out there has been written by people who have never actually overcome social anxiety. They just write their theories and ideas about what they think should help socially anxious people, which they've never even tried on themselves. I'm only going to give you simple, reliable methods and techniques that have been tested on myself and hundreds of my clients and been proven to work time and time again. I also won't give you any useless one-liners or conversation starters. If you want lines, there are thousands of them all over the internet. You probably won't remember the lines anyway when you're busy trying to talk to someone. Think about it. Do people who are good at making conversation need to memorize lines? No, they come up with what to say spontaneously, which is what I'll train you to do as well. I also won't give you vague advice or motivational quotes. Dumb sayings like "what's the worst that can happen?" or "there's no reason to be shy," or "fake it till you make it," these simply don't work. They may give you an insight or a spark of motivation for a couple hours, but that quickly wears off and you're back to being your old self. By using the techniques I give you, you'll see lasting changes, not just a temporary emotional high. Now that you know what you won't find in my system, I'll give you an overview of what you will learn. First, you'll see why your past attempts at overcoming social anxiety have failed, and the strategies and techniques that really work and produce results fast. 99% of psychiatrists and therapists don't know about these simply because they haven't actually ever experienced what it's like to be shy, quiet, and socially nervous, and that starts on page 8. And then you'll see the secret cause of your social anxiety. You'll discover the real genetic reasons you're afraid to speak up and make new friends. When you know what they are, it's almost too easy to dispel these fears for good, and that's on page 12. And then on page 14, you'll find out how to become as relaxed and easygoing around strangers as you are around your closest friend. You'll learn to use cutting-edge behavioral psychology to trick your brain into being able to talk to complete strangers as if you've known them for years. And on page 15, you'll find out how to use new breakthroughs discoveries in science and psychology to help you eliminate the anxiety, nervousness, self-doubt, fear, and insecurities that are destroying your chances at making friends, getting a girlfriend or boyfriend, and building a social life. And then you'll find out the seemingly harmless action your parents or relatives did that reinforced your anxiety at a young age. This also explains why, even to this day, you probably feel super anxious around them when you're talking to someone your own age or someone you're attracted to. That's on page 17. And then you'll find out how to literally rewire your brain so that you never have to feel anxiety or nervousness again. This simple strategy removes anxiety permanently because it pulls your anxiety out of your brain by the very roots. And the best part is, this strategy works better and is much safer than any prescription drug. That's on page 20. What's the worst that can happen? And it's all in your head. Learn why bad advice like this, offered by your family or friends, never works for reducing anxiety. And you also find out what you should say to yourself instead that reduces anxiety instantly on the spot on page 21. How to make confident, steady eye contact without feeling nervous. I'll show you exactly where you should look and for how long. Mess this up and people will either think you're creepy or you have no self-confidence. That's on page 25. Have you ever seen someone you know walking towards you and planned out a route to walk around them and avoid them? Or when you see someone walking towards you down the street, do you ever get the sudden urge to cross the street or turn back? This could mean something really weird. Find out on page 26. Alcohol and drugs. Traditional psychiatrists and therapists usually tell you to avoid them at all costs. I'll show you this little known strategy that lets you use them to give yourself a strong, natural confidence that lasts even after you sober up on page 28. How to avoid the 3 biggest mistakes shy and social anxious people make. These accidentally make you more uncomfortable, nervous, and afraid of talking to people each time you do them, and you probably do them a lot on page 29. A world-famous plastic surgeon's secret mental tactic to gain social skills and experience in the comfort of your own home by yourself. Once you make this simple shift in your thinking, your social fears will start to disappear without you having to talk to a single person, on page 32. Why facing your fears can sometimes hurt you more than help you. In fact, the less you face these types of situations, the more confident you'll become, on page 33. How to use the secrets of psychological conditioning to quickly overcome your anxiety and nervousness in the shortest time possible. Even if you've always had problems motivating yourself to do anything outside the house, find that on page 37. Find out also the real reason why most people who try to overcome social anxiety fail at it, and the two things you need to do to make sure you don't fall into the same traps on page 38. How to use a simple, easy adjustment in the way you breathe to instantly decrease your level of social anxiety. Imagine being able to go from tense and anxious to feeling totally relaxed and at ease within a few moments anytime you want. Find that on page 40. Cold hands. Why do shy people get them even in summer? And how to make your hands normal in 30 seconds or less. That's on page 41. Do you hate how your voice sounds? Learn the little-known technique developed by the founder of the National Hospital of Speech Disorders to get rid of tension and unnaturalness instantly, and give yourself a confident, flowing voice that people will love to hear. Page 45. My proven 6-step sequence for completely erasing all your tension when around people. You'll have guaranteed total relaxation even when you're talking to someone attractive or popular, which means that you'll never come off as weird, creepy, or awkward again on page 47. 4 dangerous ways socially anxious people try to lower your anxiety that actually sets up a vicious cycle in your mind, forcing you to sweat, shake, and blush in front of other people uncontrollably. And there's only one way out on page 48. A simple psychological secret that makes even the most popular people see you as their social equal. Even if you're an unattractive loner, people won't be able to help paying attention to you, and you'll never get ignored or brushed off again in conversations. That's on page 56. I'll also show you the big secret. Basically, no psychology book will ever tell you about having friends and making people want to be around you. This is what makes other people want to be real friends with you instead of just work buddies or classmates. Find that on page 60. You'll also learn a proven exercise developed by a plastic surgeon to trick yourself into thinking you're good looking, so that you don't get nervous talking to other people and everything you do shows effortless confidence. Have you ever seen an ugly or unattractive person be able to be confident and make tons of friends easily? Well, this is how they do it on page 63. How the power of expectations keeps you socially anxious, and the only effective method discovered to break the cycle and really feel free to live the life you want on page 66. You also find out the thing most shy and social anxious people do that exposes your lack of friends and social life to others. This almost instantly makes other people look down on you and decide that you aren't worth their time on page 67. Do affirmations work? This shocking study done by a Harvard psychologist reveals the truth on page 74. Do you always look in mirrors? If you're constantly trying to see your reflection, especially when you're walking around outside when you go out, then there's something important that you should know on page 82. A simple 6-part mini course that takes you by the hand and shows you step by step how to develop unbreakable self-esteem, even if you've always been haunted by feelings of insecurity and inferiority. Once you learn my proven method, you'll never feel intimidated by people who are more educated, intelligent, confident, popular, or better looking than you. Find that on page 84. You'll also find out how to patch up the holes in your self-esteem for good and build a rock-solid foundation of confidence that all people feel when they're around you on page 86. You'll also see a 2-step exercise to identify exactly how you're letting other people control your actions so you can eliminate their influence and be your own person. This, in turn, will cause you to become totally at ease and self-assured in almost every situation. That's on page 89. You'll also find out 4 subtle antisocial behaviors that make you look insecure to other people. Master just a few of these, and you'll finally like the way that you look and act in photos and home videos on page 92. You'll also see how to release your brakes to lose all your social awkwardness and inhibition. You'll finally be able to enjoy talking to people instead of feeling insecure or watched. Find that on page 93. And then you'll learn 6 ways to instantly eliminate all of your self-consciousness, so you'll never have to wonder if the way that you walk or make eye contact is correct. I learned these ways from studying top airplane pilots, believe it or not. You'll find that on page 96. Do you daydream or zone out a lot? Then you need to read this on page 103. You'll learn a powerful exercise to break free of any inner demons that have haunted you since childhood, fast and forever. Unfortunately, most people will go their entire lives without really eliminating the things that prevent them from true success. You'll find that on page 106. An ancient Buddhist technique for becoming absolutely calm and in control that you can use immediately whenever you start to feel anxious, overwhelmed, worried, or afraid. Find that on page 108. How you should act to make people value and respect you, even over other more popular and confident people. This will make them put in an effort to get to know you and want to become your friend. Learn that on page 110. The two-step system to change your personality and become more outgoing without your friends and family noticing and putting you on the spot for it. Most psychologists don't even know that this is a major problem. Page 111. I'll teach you the right way to respond when someone says you're shy or you're quiet or you never talk. If you handle this awkward situation wrong, then you're dust. Here's how to get the attention off of you and make everyone believe that it was a joke at the same time. I love this one. Find that on page 112. Why shy people are afraid to wear cool or stylish clothes. What this means and how to overcome it on page 112. By the way, the Shyness and Social Anxiety System, it's an audio program, but it also comes with a 128-page digital manual that covers all the same information as the audios, in case you prefer to read. And the page numbers that you just heard were for the manual. And to make sure that you improve in the shortest time possible, I've also decided to include 4 free bonuses for you when you invest in the program today. The first bonus is a report called How to Always Know What to Say Next. Many of my clients have told me that this one report was worth the price of the entire program. It's easy to see why. Inside the report is one technique that I use to become great at talking to people, making small talk, and carrying on long conversations. Think about it. Most of the best talkers out there aren't even that smart. They may not even have anything valuable to say most of the time. All they do is follow one simple unconscious technique that you may not know yet, but I've revealed the secret in this short report. So I'll show you that technique that will guarantee you never run out of things to say. Also, have you ever seen someone that you want to talk to but first had to make sure you had several topics of conversation you could talk about before you even walked up and said hello? This technique will replace that behavior for good. I'll also cover awkward pauses, why they happen, and a foolproof technique to prevent them. I'll also show you what 3 things you must do if you want people to be interested in what you're saying and not just brush you off or even sometimes ignore you on page 6. I'll also teach you a proven 3-step threading system that you can go through to get that perfect reply as you're talking to people instead of thinking of something hours later when it's way too late. That's on page 7. And then on page 10, I'll give you the 4-letter word that I use to guarantee that my mind never goes blank when talking. The second bonus is a report called Social Circle from Scratch. This report will reveal to you the secrets you never learned growing up about making friends and building a social life. Too many of my clients would use my system and get rid of their social anxiety, but they still wouldn't have that great of a social life. I figured out that it was because they simply didn't know what to do. They may not be afraid anymore, but they still didn't know how to make and keep friends, how to hang out with them, and how to become the center of their social circle. They were never taught what to do in order to make people like them and want to spend time with them. Nobody ever showed you the few simple secrets most social people take for granted that allow you to become well-liked and popular and have a ton of friends. If you've never had a social life or many friends outside of school or work, it's probably because you're making a few huge mistakes that are exposing your lack of friends to other people. These are things that you can't learn unless you already know a few very social people. Otherwise, it's impossible to try to figure them out from the outside. So this report will present you with the missing pieces of knowledge you need to finally build a social circle with ease. Here's some of what else is included in this report. Have you ever wanted to know exactly what a naturally social person would do when making a phone call, sending a text message, or asking to be invited somewhere? In this report, I'll show you word-for-word scripts you can use in these situations to come across as someone who is already popular. I'll also show you a step-by-step plan anyone can use to build a social circle from scratch, and it even works even if you have no friends right now. I'll show you how to reveal your real personality to people in the shortest time possible. This is the easiest way to make dozens of new friends quickly. Other people will now be able to feel like they know you in just a few hours or days, and they won't ever think that you're dull, lifeless, or boring. In this report, I'll also show you how to answer questions like "What's up?" or "Hey, how's it going?" easily and naturally, without ever feeling awkward or getting a blank mind. I'll show you how to respond when someone asks, "What are you up to this weekend?" or "What did you do last night?" without coming across as a loser, even if you did nothing. I'll give you the exact word-for-word script to use. I'll show you how to finally get off your butt and start living life in the best and most fulfilling way possible. And this has nothing to do with motivating yourself to action. Think about it this way. How afraid of social anxiety would you be if the doctor told you you had 2 weeks to live? Well, this technique relies on the same psychological principle. And just to give you even more value, I also went out and convinced 2 leading conversation and confidence experts to contribute 2 reports as part of this package. One of the reports is called 7 Conversation Secrets that will make you confident, interesting, and likable. This report is written by Edward Azanu, who's a professional communication coach who's been coaching people with problems similar to yours for over 6 years. And the last bonus report is called 10 Keys to Stop Feeling Anxious and Nervous Around People. This one is written by my colleague David Hamilton, who also suffered from social anxiety and now coaches other people on how to become socially confident and expressive. By the way, I know that this sounds like a lot of information, but all these bonus reports are very quick to read, probably 15 minutes each at most, and they're all full of valuable information and techniques that will allow you to eliminate your social anxiety permanently and become extremely good at conversations and confidence. And the final bonus is my favorite. I really can't believe I'm doing this, but when you sign up today, I'm also giving you a free 14-day trial to my 6-month social immersion weekly training program. In this program, I'll give you a weekly video lesson, report, or interview to help you make progress faster. At least once a month, you'll get to hear an interview with me and another expert about confidence, making friends, conversations, etc. If you're smart, you'll keep your membership to this program and remain automatically subscribed at a monthly rate of $37. But if you find that it's not for you, then you can cancel at any time at no additional cost by simply emailing me. However, since I'm losing money by giving away these free 14-day subscriptions, it only allows me to offer this to you for a very limited time. So, you get all these free bonuses along with my system, making this the most comprehensive and complete system for overcoming social anxiety on the planet. Now, a question that you might have is, how do I know if this is a legitimate offer or if it's just another scam? I know you're probably thinking that there's plenty of scammers and sleazy marketers on the internet, so how do you know if this program is legitimate? Listen, I've been there before myself, buying things on the internet, and that's why I'm completely adamant about the quality of my products and customer service. I do everything possible to make sure you're satisfied and will actually get the results you came here looking for. Also, think about it. Why in the world would I want to scam you or sell you some gimmick that doesn't work? I'd be out of business in a week. It's exactly the opposite of what I stand for. My long-term goals are to stay in business by helping you achieve your long-term goal of overcoming your social anxiety. So it's just common sense that I want my program to be as effective as humanly possible to get you results, and that's exactly what it delivers. After all, that's what it's really all about, your results. Not only that, but the Shyness and Social Anxiety system has one of the lowest refund rates of any online information product. 96.4% of Shyness and Social Anxiety system users are satisfied with the program, while only 3.6% have refunded the program. These reader satisfaction statistics prove that if you apply the information in this program, you will get results, plain and simple. But don't just take my word for it. See what the experts think. Dr. Todd Snyder, who's a licensed clinical psychologist living near Chicago, he specializes in the areas of social anxiety and relationships and has actually battled social anxiety himself. And when he went through my system, here's what he said. He said, "As a licensed clinical psychologist specializing in social anxiety and self-help systems, I was amazed at how well Sean has distilled many of the principles that can actually make a difference for those of us who battle social anxiety. Sean's information is straight to the point and focused on some of the most critical skills for managing shyness and anxiety." And then Edward Azanu is a professional communication coach specializing in social success. After finishing his degree in psychology, he began coaching people in communication skills, which he's been doing for the past 9 years. Edward said, As a former shy, invisible guy myself, I find something fascinating in what Sean teaches in this program because you can tell he's been through it, he knows personally what it's like to have shyness and social anxiety, and he grasped how to beat it. The shyness and social anxiety system got me realizing things I wasn't aware of about overcoming social anxiety. So, what's it worth to you to finally start living instead of watching other people from the sidelines? At this point, you're probably wondering how much something like this is going to cost. Well, if you're going to go to a therapist, they'd usually charge you $150 an hour to listen to you talk about your problems, and then you'd be forced to see them over and over again, each time shelling out more and more money. Here's a little known secret too. Most therapists aren't even trained in the conventional methods of overcoming social anxiety. And even the ones that are trained don't know how effective the methods they're teaching you are because they've usually never had to overcome social anxiety themselves. Considering this, and the fact that I've studied all the methods out there and I've poured literally hundreds of hours into this system, everyone I talked to said that I should charge at least $400. This made sense to me. There are 3 to 4 comparable programs out there, and they all range from $250 to $300, and they only cover overcoming social anxiety. There's nothing in them about having conversations, making friends, or building a social life. But $400 seemed a bit high to me. First of all, when I originally set out, I wanted to reach as many people as possible with these techniques. I want to reach the people who were stuck in the same rut as I was, and I know that I would never have been able to afford $400 back then. So then, how much? $300? $200? This is crazy. There are very few people in the world who have the amount of knowledge on this topic I have, who are willing to share it, and who won't charge you hundreds of dollars an hour. So I'll ask you again, how much is it worth to you to finally have your social anxiety behind you, to get rid of your loneliness, and to finally start living the way you see other normal people do? How about $100? That price would be more than fair. You'd get access to hundreds of hours of my research and experience for much less than the cost of an hour of therapy. $100 is how much I would charge, but since I'm able to deliver the system through the internet, which means that there's no printing, handling, or shipping cost, I decided that the final price would be just $47. Why charge so low? Because at this price, more people will buy the system, use it, and benefit from it. Unlike therapists, I don't need to feed a family from selling this. I just need to cover enough expenses to continue running this website and pay for marketing to spread the word out to even more people like you who need this. You have my guarantee that you'll become less socially anxious and have an improved social life in 60 days. Alright, so I want to take any doubt or indecision you might have at this point out of your head. Seriously, if you don't take action, you'll never improve your social skills or social life. You'll simply continue to struggle for years more with that anxiety and social awkwardness. You'll keep procrastinating and making up lame excuses as to why you're going to wait to start improving your situation. You probably think that once you get that job, maybe that degree, or find that special someone, everything will change. Please, why not make the decision today to finally learn an exact, proven method of overcoming your social anxiety that'll actually allow you to enjoy life? You'll finally break the cycle of nervousness, loneliness, and even boredom that's kept you trapped for so long. I want you to realize that you have nothing to lose except for your social anxiety that's cursed you for many years. That's why I've decided to offer you a 100% unconditional money-back guarantee if you do not think that you've received many times the money you paid in 60 days. You have a full 8 weeks to review the system and see for yourself as you start to finally develop a more social, confident, and extroverted personality. If you're not satisfied with the information, then just send me an email and I'll give you a quick and courteous refund. It's that simple. You might ask why I'm foolish enough to offer a money-back guarantee. Well, basically I'm assuming that you're a trustworthy individual that wouldn't try to take advantage of me unless you're legitimately dissatisfied. Life is all about choices. Right now you have 2 options. Option number 1 is you can continue to live the same way that I also used to live, wasting whatever youth you have left being lonely and miserable. Or option number 2 is you can get my system, apply my strategies, and live the life that you want to live. Just remember, perhaps the one thing you have going for you right now is the ability to make this choice. Every day, people just like you wake up and realize that they've waited too long and they've wasted their youth being shy. Look at it realistically. If you don't change, that's going to be you, and a lot sooner than you think. Where else can you get this type of information that could potentially make a huge difference in your happiness and quality of life? For $47, that's how much it costs for half a pair of jeans. So look below this video now and click on the big orange button whenever you're ready to claim your copy of the Shines and Social Anxiety System today. Here's some real feedback past customers of the Shines and Social Anxiety System have sent me. First, I have Matt, who's a 24-year-old from Novorossiysk, Russia. Matt said that he always had lots of problems communicating with strangers and his confidence was really low. He always worried about what people thought of him, and he had problems with girls. When he saw my system, he bought it almost right away, and now he's made a lot of progress. He said he stopped caring what people think, not in every situation, of course, like running naked down the street, but he says that he became more confident, that's for sure. He got a few dates, and he's, very encouraged by his progress. Lauren, who's a 22-year-old from Edmond, Oklahoma, she said that she's a college student studying engineering. She said that she didn't really talk to people and she knew that she was very quiet, but she didn't feel like there was anything really wrong with her that much. But the thing that hurt for her was all the friendships that she saw her fellow students forming without her. She said that people didn't ever send her any messages about when groups were getting together to study. Several times that she said she'd see her classmates in the cafeteria and she would hide from them. She was afraid that if she sat with them, she wouldn't have anything to say. Lauren says that my system was the first one that she could completely relate to. She bought it almost as soon as she heard about it, and when I spoke of my experience with social anxiety, it was almost the same as hers. She said that she hesitated for a couple minutes because she didn't want to ask her mom for the money, but she managed to talk to her mom, and her mom felt that this system was something that she needed. And she says that she thinks the system is great. It's quick to go through. The ideas and techniques are actually helpful, and Lauren would recommend it to anyone who is struggling with social anxiety. Lauren says that her biggest issue now is wishing that social anxiety had never happened in the first place because now she's aware of how much she missed out on, but she is glad and thankful to be where she is now and to be getting better. Anna, who's a 17-year-old from Middlesbrough, England, said that her biggest problems before were not knowing what to say to people and being too self-conscious. When she first saw the system, she was worried that it wouldn't work and that she didn't want to waste money. Since reading the information, she says that she started to improve her conversation skills and being more spontaneous. She says that she can even start conversations with people she never would have before, like people who are more popular than her. Anna says that she now has more confidence and that she's revealing herself more to people. Shane Normand, who's a 38-year-old from Fort Worth, Texas, said that his problem was being shy all his life. He was afraid to talk to people and felt uncomfortable all the time. And Shane says that now he's attempting to make conversations with people, as many people as possible. She says that sometimes he has the motivation and sometimes he doesn't, but he is getting better now over time. Ask T. Borgen, who's a 25-year-old musician from Kongsberg, Norway, says that he used to be very shy around other people, even people he'd known for a long time, and it was hurting his career as a musician. He's only had my system for a short time, but he already notices that he's more confident. And one specific situation was that he got the job in his last job interview because he was able to be more calm and confident. And the last story I'll share with you is from John K., who's a 64-year-old man. John said that high school was a horror show, but he managed to graduate, although his parents were always wondering why he was always alone in his room. John says that as a teenager and adult, he wasn't able to even sit in a fast food restaurant, and he always ate in his car. He had panic attacks in the shopping malls, and he didn't go out very often. He said that luckily he was working as a stained glass artist and he was able to go from job to job based on recommendations, so he never had to go to a job interview. Up until 50 years old, John knew that something was wrong with him, but he didn't know what it was. He knew that he was different from many other people and he didn't know why he couldn't socialize. At the age of 50, John took part in a social anxiety study that investigated a drug called Paxil to relieve symptoms, and he said that finally finding out that he had social anxiety helped. He said that last year he started to go off the drugs and he started to get out more, and that's about the time that he says he ran into my system. John says that the system described what he went through very accurately, and the section on how to have a conversation was the best part. At the age of 63, for the first time in his life, John went to someone's house to meet socially with a group of people, and he says that my advice on how to have a conversation worked great. John says that if you are younger, please don't wind up like him. He wishes that this course existed when he was in his 20s, and he encourages you to buy this course and apply what I teach. John says that your social contacts will improve and probably your income, especially with networking as it is now. It's not what you know, it's also who you know. And John now believes that social anxiety can be overcome. But John does say that the younger you start to overcome it, the better. In his case, he had 50 years of conditioning to overcome. And he says that it's a great comfort that someone else experienced the same symptoms as him, overcame them, and created a product to help other people. So I hope your success story will be my next one. Remember that you get instant access to the system 2 minutes after you order through my secure membership website. And you're always protected by my 60-day 100% money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied with my system for any reason at all, then you can always send me a quick email for a refund. That's how confident I am that this will help you to get the friends, confidence, and even romance that you want. So click on the big orange button below to get started today risk-free. And I'll see you on the other side. Whatever your decision, I sincerely wish you the best with your life. And at the very least, I hope that what I've shared with you in this presentation and in the other articles and emails I published has a positive impact on your life. And I'll just leave you with one last thought before I go. A wise man once said that everything that we have in life is a direct result of the choices that we make and don't make. I think the choices that we don't make are the ones that really matter. I don't think you ever hear anybody sitting in a nursing home at 80 years old talking about the mistakes of the things that they did do in their life. It's always the regrets of the things that they didn't do that sadden and depress them in their old age. Are you ready? Are you going to regret later that you didn't take action, that you didn't do something, that you didn't take a chance, that you didn't roll the dice? Come on, make something happen for once in your life. Be proactive, be positive, and take action. Grow a spine. Be a man or a woman. Do the right thing. Come on, let's get started. Am I pushing you? You bet. I'm gonna push you because I know that this $50 doesn't matter to you one way or the other. You'll spend that kind of money on a meal at a nice restaurant or for a video game that you get bored of in 2 weeks. $50 doesn't matter to anybody. What does matter is that you go out and take action, that you do things right in your life, that you make life interesting and exciting again. So click on the big orange button below to get started today, and I'll talk to you again soon.